Guys, I am at the point where I do think the Angels will trade Shohei Ohtani before the August 2nd trade deadline. They are a desperate franchise right now, and even with Ohtani, there's just no juice. There's nothing to that team. They have no top prospects. They've got horrible contracts, and they've got Mike Trout, who now has a chronic back issue. They need to do whatever they can to get as many top prospects before the deadline for Ohtani, because of course, if you trade Ohtani in the offseason, his value is going to be a lot lower. If you trade him next deadline, his value is going to be even lower. You're at the point right now where you can still get at least 2 super prospects back, and you can see this from Yahoo Sports. The Angels reportedly not ruling out an Ohtani trade would want your 4 top prospects, which really is pretty reasonable when you think what Ohtani is worth, depending on the farm system, of course. If it's a really good farm system, the 4 top prospects might be a little bit of a steep asking price. Of course, we know how good Shohei Ohtani is, but you also have to factor in he's only signed through next year, and then he's due a major contract, so that's why his value is not going to be sky high. You know, Juan Soto has 2.5 years left. Ohtani only has 1.5. That's a major factor when it comes to what you're going to give up for a guy. Ohtani's going to want $40 million per year after next year when he is a free agent. So teams have to think about that. We're going to go over some mock trades for Ohtani. And then we had this major news yesterday. Source: the Padres are in serious talks with the Nationals for a Juan Soto trade. The talks have intensified. So does this mean the Padres are the current favorite for Juan Soto? I don't know. But what I do know is the Padres and the Nationals line up really well in a potential Juan Soto trade based on what we've heard the Nationals want. They want a combination of top prospects and young players. The Padres certainly have that, although the issue with Mackenzie Gore going on the IL, that could cause a little bit of a wrinkle in this trade. But certainly the Padres are a potential team. Another team, the Cardinals, would be a potential team. And the Dodgers right now, I would say those are the top 3 teams in a Juan Soto trade. The Yankees, after getting Benintendi, I think the most obvious thing for them is they are going after Luis Castillo hard, and if for some reason they cannot get Castillo or they get outbid, they will go after Frankie Montas. I think the Yankees are heavily targeting an elite starting pitcher to really bolster that rotation, and we could see the Yankees trade for Luis Castillo and Jose Quintana. They really do need starting pitching depth. Jordan Montgomery is not very good. And you've got the Luis Severino issue with him being shut down. So the Yankees, I think they're going for starting pitching. To me, they're just going to get outbid for Juan Soto. Either way, they don't have the young talent that these other teams have. So I think they will go after Luis Castillo, in my opinion. That'll be kind of their big move at the deadline. Getting Benintendi for, 3 lower tier prospects. He's a rental. You'll take it. He'll be a starting outfielder. You're hoping he hits 300, gets on base. It's a nice pickup. But again, Benintendi is a rental, so he'll be a free agent next year. Let's get to some of these mock trades. This is one between the Angels and the Cardinals. So let's say the Cardinals don't get Juan Soto. This is them going after Ohtani and Syndergaard. They do need starting pitching help, and they are giving up Nolan Gorman, Matthew Liberatore. You can tell this trade was made by a Cardinals fan, because in my opinion, you would have to give up more than just Nolan Gorman and Liberatore if you're going to get Ohtani. There's going to be a lot of teams offering for Ohtani, so those would be the 2 main ones you would get, along with 2 decent other prospects. Paul DeJong is a negative, but they would kind of cancel him out by giving him $9 million in cash. I don't think this is realistic. I think the Cardinals would have to give up more, in my opinion. This is one with the Mets, so the Angels getting the super prospect, the best catching prospect in baseball, Francisco Alvarez, along with basically their 4 top prospects. So this is exactly what the Angels want, your 4 to 5 top prospects, and that's what this would be. for Ohtani there. So interesting. I think the Mets line up really well in a potential Ohtani trade because the Mets, you know, they're trying to be that big team in New York with their new owner spending all this money. You know, they would be interested in re-signing Ohtani, I'm sure. And he's just such a spectacle for the sport overall. This is a deal with the Blue Jays. I think the Blue Jays could be a team that's very enticed to potentially trade for Ohtani. And in this trade, you're trading your top 3 prospects, including the superstar catcher, Gabriel Moreno. And you're getting Ohtani to pair with Bichette, George Springer, and Vlad Jr., and also put him in that rotation with Alek Manoah. The Blue Jays could be a team that comes out of nowhere and really is interested in Ohtani if the Angels seriously consider trading him. This is one with the Yankees. So to me, I do not think the Yankees, it just does not fit. So Ohtani has pitched in the Bronx twice. He's gotten lit up both times. I don't think he would want to go to New York, although I did say maybe the Mets. But I just think the Yankees are even a bigger spotlight. And there has been some speculation with people that Ohtani really only wants to stay in the West Coast. So, I don't know personally if that's a thing with him being Japanese. Maybe he just wants to stay out over there rather than come into a bigger spotlight. I mean, you could say Los Angeles is a big spotlight, but that's a situation where the Angels clearly play second fiddle to the Dodgers. It's not even close. So, I don't know. This would be the Yankees giving up everyone. I just don't think it is. Although they would keep Austin Wells and Dominguez in this trade, I don't think it's necessarily realistic. The fit just isn't there overall. This is, I think the Angels would accept this 100 times out of 100. I have heard from Dodgers fans that Gavin Lux and Will Smith are not, they're not going to trade either of them. Dustin May, he's injured right now, maybe. When Dustin May is pitched, he's a stud. He just has the injury concerns. But yeah, the Angels would do this 100 times out of 100. It would be a massive overpay for the Dodgers. You're getting a franchise-level shortstop possibly, or second baseman Gavin Lux, a franchise-level catcher, and then possibly an ace for 1.5 years of Ohtani. Of course, the Dodgers would then re-sign Ohtani. But, I think the Angels would trade with the Dodgers for sure. The Dodgers have a ton of great prospects, and if they're the team that offers the best, it is the other team in LA, so it'd be tough to trade Ohtani there. But if they offer the best prospects, you have to really consider it. And then here are the Juan Soto trades. So the Cardinals being one of the teams. This is not including the Patrick Corbin contract, but you can just see that is a crazy haul for the Nationals. This is why the Nationals have to trade Soto before the deadline. I mean, you're getting Liberatore, O'Neill, Walker, Wynn, and then 2 other good it's just a ridiculous haul. You're getting 6 impact level prospects there. And I think if the Cardinals are going to trade for Juan Soto, either Dylan Carlson or Tyler O'Neill will be guaranteed involved in the trade. Because you're getting Juan Soto, so you're going to start him in the outfield anyways. One of those guys becomes expendable. That's just my opinion if the Cardinals end up trading for Juan Soto. The reason we've speculated that the Cardinals could trade for Soto is due to their young talent in the minor league systems and in the MLB with both Carlson and O'Neill. They could definitely be a team. And then this is another one with Carlson and Jordan Walker, Liberatore as well. I mean, that's another crazy haul. It's why the Nationals must trade Soto before the deadline. This is the Padres, so we know the Padres are maybe the team that's currently the favorite for Juan Soto. They're at least talking about it. This could be a trade where they take on Corbin's contract, but they also shed Eric Hosmer's contract because people have said it's not realistic for the Padres to take on all of Corbin's deal while still having Machado's contract, which is massive, Eric Hosmer's contract, which is massive. So obviously you're not going to trade Machado, so you trade Hosmer's bad contract, and you're going to have to give up even more prospects. C.J. Abrams, Mackenzie Gore, we talked about him. He's on the IL right now with an elbow thing. That could complicate a potential trade. And then Eric Hosmer, and then Wood, who's another good, and also Hassel. So, it is a crazy haul. It just goes on and on and on when you're trading for Juan Soto, the value he currently has, and you're the Nationals. you could completely rebuild your farm system in one trade, let alone you're also going to have a top pick next year as well, probably a top 4 or top 5 pick, depending on how the new MLB lottery shakes out. So those are interesting trades. And then this was definitely one that's never going to happen, but I thought it was really unique. So it's a 3-team trade. The Angels and Nationals both giving look at the Cardinals. The Cardinals get Juan Soto and Ohtani, and they give up their entire farm system. Jordan Walker, Liberatore, Gorman. The craziest thing about this trade, they trade for Ohtani and Soto and keep Dylan Carlson and Tyler O'Neill. They would, obviously that's not realistic, but imagine they have Juan Soto, Ohtani with Tyler O'Neill and Dylan Carlson. That would be I'd love to see a mock of that lineup. And they would also be taking on Corbin's contract. There's no way they'd be able to re-sign both Ohtani and Soto. So one of those guys would just be a rental. So the Cardinals wouldn't do this, but it is just crazy to think about how loaded that team would be. They still honestly need pitching help, but getting Ohtani and Syndergaard in that deal would be interesting. But guys, I also wanted to talk about the Cleveland Guardians, who are my team, and what I think they are going to do. And based off of the stuff we're kind of hearing right now, and kind of how the roster is playing out, I think the Cleveland Guardians are going to trade for Sean Murphy. I think that's going to be their big move. They're going to trade away Ahmed Rosario, who's having a good year. You can get a decent prospect for him. They're going to trade away Franmil Reyes, probably for not much, but he's clogging up the DH spot. And they have an influx of infield prospects that are really talented. They're going to package some of those along with probably a starting pitching prospect and make a big trade for Sean Murphy, who is under contract for 3.5 years. And the Guardians are going to really compete starting next year if they get Sean Murphy. You've got Jose Ramirez, you've got Jimenez, you've got Tyler Freeman, who's probably going to be your second baseman, Josh Naylor, your first baseman. Stephen Kwan's been great, although he has no power. Miles Straw probably more of a fourth outfielder, defensive type, and then they've got several just amazing, outfield prospects. Nolan Jones, he's up, I know that. So I think that's what the Guardians are going to do. To me, they're definitely going to make a big move. I think trading Ahmed Rosario makes complete sense. He's clogging up the middle infield right now. He's a good hitter. You can get something for him. He's under contract through next year. And then you got to get rid of Franmil Reyes. He's clogging up the DH spot at this point. I would let Naylor DH play first a little bit maybe, but he's got to go as well. So Sean Murphy to the Guardians, it makes complete sense to me. With how the front office operates, it'll be interesting. They apparently there were rumors that the Guardians might trade either Zach Plesac or Savali. I think if they get the right offer, they'll trade either one of them. Those are kind of lower end starters, so they're probably not going to get a lot back for either one. But they both have multiple years of team control, so I don't know. Either way, that's just what I think is going to happen. So I do think Shohei Ohtani at this point, based on how it's trending, will be traded. The Angels dealing with the Mike Trout back issue. At some point, something's got to give. You can't just keep Ohtani for no reason just to sell tickets. You have to rebuild your farm system. You already have a horrible contract with Anthony Rendon. It makes sense to strike while the iron's hot. Ohtani's a ticking time bomb. Nobody knows if he's going to get injured because he pitches and hits. It's very risky to hold on to him. So now is the time to trade him. And then certainly, Juan Soto is going to get traded. That's a no-brainer. You have to trade him right now. You could basically completely rebuild your farm system at this point. There is significant demand for Juan Soto as well. So we will see what happens there. Once again, I think the three main teams to look at for Juan Soto, it's the Dodgers, it's the Cardinals, and then it is the Padres, and then maybe a dark horse team like the Mariners or someone like that could get thrown in for a trade like that. So we'll see what happens, guys, but that's going to do it for this video. Make sure you're following me on Twitter. Link to that's always in the description. I'm, of course, the Depressed Ginger. Thank you for watching.